welcome back to the rebuild on this pump for my excavator. Apparently you can't just take one of these apart and throw some parts at it and put it back together and hope it works out okay. There's a little bit of finesse that goes into it, I found. I was a little bit distracted for the last couple weeks, if you saw the video where I got this thing working. But really I was actually just kind of waiting for parts to show up and you know, trying to figure out what to do here. So I think we're ready to get going on this thing. Now, before I get started, I need to put the disclaimer out there that I don't know what I'm doing. Complete amateur, never done this before. Thankfully, someone that rebuilds pumps for a living reached out to me and kind of gave me some pointers. Very huge thank you to Josh. He let me call him on the phone and I was able to pick his brain for like 30-40 minutes on what to do, what to look for. So at least I got someone with a lot of experience to kind of help me out. So I'm not completely blind, but that might be just even more dangerous. We'll see. All right, so before I clean up and paint this head cover here, I need to fit this plate. This is the valve plate, and this rides on here, and this part rides on here. Now this is a convex surface, and this is concave. And apparently, I didn't know this until I talked to the hydraulic shop guy, they're not ever machined perfectly, and you kind of want to wear them into each other, so the fit's really, really nice. So we'll work on that. I guess for starters though, I'll just check this and make sure this fit is okay. So this is the method he used. He just uses a marker, and you hope the marker wears off evenly. So this is what sets the pump angle. So this rides up and down as the angle changes. It's pretty firm that way. So just run it here and see if we have any. Okay, well, I mean, maybe it's a little bit high right here. Yeah, it's definitely riding here more than here. So let me. That's looking better. So now all three of these are kind of wearing the same. Maybe. All right, so now I see there's clearly a high spot right here and here. I think it's actually on this plate because you can see the strip that this is on. I think maybe that some fluid leaks in here, and so there's a high spot here where it's not as worn down. I think that's what's going on there. Kind of just work this whole area flat. These are the pads he said to use. These are 7477s, I think. Okay, that mark's not on there. I could see a mark on there before. That's gone. Let's clean this up too. Might be a high spot right here. Wondering if that's the problem and not this valve plate. All right, well that actually cleaned it up pretty good. There's a little bit of a strip there, but I think that's where it's not really writing on that strip there or there. And this one looks good, so I think we're good on this side. All right, so for this part, he sent me pictures. This is the harder part since we're dealing with not flat surfaces, but he sent me pictures, and on his setup, this part had the bronze on it and this was steel, and he was putting a marker on here. So I think what I want to do is I put marker on here, and then this is the surface I wear down. He said that you want to do, like, if you're going to remove material, you want to remove, do 4 to 5 times more work on this surface than on the bronze surface, if that makes sense. So I'm basically just blindly following. I mean, it makes sense. I just haven't done anything with like this with marker before. The fit here really determines how well the pump's working, how good it seals. And so obviously this is kind of important. I would never have even have thought to do this without some advice. I mean, I've seen people like the Pakistani truck channels use like grinding compound or paste or something. I don't know if that's probably a little bit too abrasive. All right, anyway, just set it on here, move it up like that. This is what he said to do. We're looking for high spots. So like this would be a high spot right here. Yeah. Oh, there goes all my pads. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I felt like I was not making any progress or I was doing something wrong. So I ended up calling the hydraulic guy back up. A couple things I was doing wrong. One, I wasn't putting any pressure on. He said put a little bit of pressure on, like, I don't know. He said like about arm plus a little bit more. So clearly way more than I was doing because I was just moving it. I wasn't pushing down at all. He said move it about halfway up, like that. So I'll put some pressure on it and see if that makes it behave. I also asked the question I'm sure all of you are wondering right now, which is why don't you just put some lapping compound in and just spin it on there? Which you could do, but the reason you're not is that compound will eat this brass way much faster than that, and both of these surfaces need to be finished. So it just would not work well on this. Okay, I think I legit have like 3 or 4 hours into this, which is fine. You know, my time's probably only worth about $6 an hour. But I think I finally have it figured out what to do here. And I've gotten it mostly dialed the way in, but I'll just show you what I've been doing. So this is a little bit different than what was described to me. But this is, the setup of this pump is a little bit different. So what really made this start working is I got a new marker, and this one the marker stays wet way longer. What I found is it was drying out too fast, and then I wasn't getting a good pattern. So it's still wet. So just rub it up and like this. So the wear on here is like the marker is pretty much worn off evenly on here. And then on here, there's a couple you can see right here. And here is a little bit of a high spot. Like I said, I've been spending a lot of time on this, trying to clean this up, so I'm almost done. So then I would take this, and I'll just gently, very gently, just remove that much. There's a couple spots here. Then an important step is to blow off, because these pads are abrasive, so it leaves junk in there, and the last thing you want to do is be rubbing these two surfaces with abrasive material in between. And then I've been completely cleaning these off each time. Another reason why it's been taking me so long, but so I'll mark this again. And then, you know, I kind of move this around each time. So I do it like this. All right, well, I don't know if you can tell, it's really even as far as the paint transfer. That all looks pretty good. So I think I'm gonna call it done. Once again, big thank you to Josh letting me, I think I called him 2 or 3 times about this. Sent him a bunch of text messages asking questions. So big thank you to him for helping me out on this. Like I said, this is not exactly how he described it to me, but it just, this was working pretty well for me. After staring at the new one for hours and hours, I went and looked at the old ones. You can just see where it's been wearing unevenly on this thing. And there's all these scratches that you can get your finger in. I don't know if that's from dirt getting caught in between the rotor and the valve plate or what, but yeah, it's just definitely worn out. One other thing on this plate, like this right here is like an insert. I don't know if I can get that. You see how it's kind of sticking out a little bit right there? And there was a corresponding slot that had cut into the valve head, like the back plate for the pump. Yeah, the new one just has this hole right here. So I'm not sure why they did that. I mean, I assume this is just for lubrication for when the, you know, it moves. There actually used to be a time where you could get a paint stripper where you'd spray it on and, you know, it would actually strip the paint, but unfortunately I think they banned everything. Wrap this up. All right, I got most of the paint stripped off. I just want to get this O-ring surfaces clean. You can see a raised edge around some of these holes here. So. Basically every bolt hole has this on this thing. Okay, this flange I probably don't want to touch. This one's actually okay. Just using acetone brush here to this thread's like lifting out of here. Try not to go around where the O-rings go. Oh, that's heavy. Yeah. What's amazing is after scrubbing that with a brush, I can still take, this is a clean towel, and just run it in this groove. And you still get that out. Just wiping down these machine surfaces with oil, keep from rusting. Also, it'll keep the paint from sticking to them. Put a little bit of hydraulic fluid just on the surfaces in here, especially the machine ones. All right, I'm just going to burn out any additional moisture or contaminants in the surface of this casting here. By the way, I am aware that the MAP torch adds moisture when you're using it. But if you do it right, you get the surface warm enough, it cooks off along with any other moisture that's in there. This painting method, which is exactly what I did on the engine, I stole from Tony over at Uncle Tony's Garage. He's been using it for years on engines with no problems, so I'll defer to his experience. And this is what he uses: rusty metal primer, Rust-Oleum, and then a decent quality paint to go on top. Use some pennies to cover these bolt holes up. Okay, so the rest of the parts I have here, this is all this Korean brand. What was it? Hankook Hydraulics. It's the same supplier for all these internal pump parts. This is the replacement one of this. That out. This stuff needs to be cleaned up pretty bad. Got new pistons. Got a new lock washer for the bearing shaft. That was recommended that I replace that. I got new, these are the bearings for the pilot pump. I got a 3, it was cheaper to get 3 than to buy 2. So these are the 2 big base bearings. This is the same trade number on here. Even the suffix is the same. This is this controls the angle of the pump, and it has this piston ring on here. Hopefully that's the right size, it looks right. So anyway, this was like $8, so why not replace it? And I think you can just, yeah, it broke. Hopefully that's the right one. There's also a little bit of a sign that maybe water's been sitting in the pilot pump for a long extended period of time. It's probably hard to see, but there is a little bit of a discontinuity on this shaft. And then I think I saw one, yeah, on this shaft. I'm not sure if you can see that, if I get the light right, but I think it's still fine. There's no damage in the bushing in here, so I'm really not going to worry about it. And this is the input shaft to the pilot pump. So there is a seal that rides. Well, you can see, I'm sure you can see right where it rides. It might look worn out on camera, but it's actually, I can barely even catch my fingernail on there. I'm just going to polish this up. Worst case, if it does leak, it goes right back into the pump. It's not going to be an external leak. Yeah, that right there already looks better. All right, while we're on the subject, so this is the input shaft for the whole pump, and this is the sealing surface. There's quite a bit of wear on here. So I did get a speedy sleeve for this. Let's kind of just clean this up first. You might see that there's 2 wear lines. That's because it's a double lip seal. Use a little retaining compound here. So keep it sealed and keep the sleeve from sliding. All right, hopefully I measured this right. Not really the right pliers for this, but these actually worked pretty well last time I did this, so I'll just redo what I did before. There you go. I actually let this cure for a day because I didn't want to accidentally wash away the retaining compound. This is the last thing to clean, everything else is cleaned. Got a bunch of microfiber claws here, since they don't fray. Going a little heavy on the plastic on this one. We are in a very dusty environment here. I mean, it is the basement of a barn. What's that? See if we've gotten any dust accumulation in here. Just rubbing it on the bearing surface in here. Yep. It's a result of oiling it. Just dust sticks to in here. Yeah, it's looking a lot better. All right, let's see if I can film this. It's kind of a weird angle. So I am doing this with no gloves, but I am washing my hands like every minute. I'm using the really good cleaner. Okay. One thing I need to get is a drift, a clean drift, so I can push some of this stuff in. Forgot to do that. There we go. A little bit of oil in here. Yeah, is the gear going? It's not the same. I think this side goes down. Give yourself a little lubrication for this. Should just kind of. So this is the part that was really hard to pull out. I remember it took a press. So I'm thinking maybe I should heat this gear up and it should go on a lot easier. I think I might make it easier on myself if I do that. I did clean this out. It's nothing like heating up hydraulic fluid over an open flame. There we go. That's gonna fit. Oh. All right, well I got that gear heating up in the oven of my trailer upstairs. So while that's going on, I may as well get this started. These are the old bearings for the pilot pump. And I'm just gonna use those as a, because I don't want these bearings to sit right on the bottom because they can get overheated. Now you could technically do this in the oven upstairs too, in the trailer, but I don't really have a very good control on the temperature up there. So I prefer to do these here. Just need a little spacer here. This is the old one. Don't freak out. We need us up to about 150C. At least according to the manual, that's what they said to do. Getting there. Should probably find a way to get it out of here without burning myself. All right, here we go. Make sure to not put this in upside down. Oh, well, that was easy. It just fell right on. I guess it was kind of pointless to heat up the outer race, now that I think about it. Ooh, that's... This guy. Ooh, is this tight? Okay, good. This one. Ooh, that's hot. All right, so the other bearing's heating up. I think that one goes on next, then this race goes on. Is that right? I think so. Yeah, that would make kind of sense. I was kind of worried about the microfiber melting. I'm not sure if it does or what temperature. Seems to be holding up okay though. So we're going this way, right? Nice. Perfect. I think that's right. All right, I think, and this one would probably be like, just checked the old video. I think I actually have that backwards. I think it goes like this. And then the, pretty sure that's right. Not really something you want to have to do a second time. Pretty sure this is right. Perfect. If you saw the video where I took everything apart, I mean, these were really hard to pull off, these bearings. So I'm actually surprised they're going on this easy. So the guy that was giving me some help, he said the one thing I shouldn't have done is take this shaft apart, because apparently setting the preload on these bearings is kind of important, as you would expect, and it's usually not well documented. Fortunately for this particular pump, it is kind of documented pretty well in the instructions, so I think I should be able to do it pretty easily, hopefully. Guess we'll find out. This thing is really tight. I guess you don't want it to come off, huh? Just hot potato this thing over here. Checked my old video. This is how it was oriented in here. Oh yeah. Slides right in. Oh shit. Here we go. I think that's it. So if you saw the video where I took this apart, it appeared that this bearing was kind of spinning. So this part of the casing, you can see there's a step up maybe in there. So really only half of this bearing race rides on anything. And it did kind of pop out easily last time. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of retaining compound on, just a very small amount. So it's actually seats in there without, because before it was really sliding up in and out. So hopefully this helps a little bit. I know a lot of people had suggested staking it in, but from what I've heard, it's not really a big deal if these are, they don't have to be super tight. So. think that's it. Get the excess retaining compound out of here. All right, I'll let that set up now. It kind of wants to spin on there still. But basically that raised lip is pretty much flush with the outer race of this bearing now. And I think it pretty much has to be to take the pilot pump without it, having a weird fit. We should probably make sure this actually fits while it's still wet. Perfect, okay. So it fits. The outer race is no longer moving. Like the hydraulic guy told me, it's kind of, apparently it's common for these not to be a super tight fit. And he said retaining compound's just fine to use. You don't have to stake it or do anything crazy. So that should be okay. Let me put a little bit of lubrication on these bearings. There we go. Okay, so to set the preload on here, this is what the directions say. You have to have this special tool that clamps onto, it looks like the top bearing, and then you turn it with a torque wrench, and you want to measure 3.62 foot-pounds of torque before it turns. Obviously I don't have this tool. I did find a picture of what it looks like, but we're talking 3.62, so I think we can rig something up here. I can already tell I'm going to have to tighten it quite a bit more. Or maybe not quite a bit, but we got some 4-inch PVC. This should just barely work. Just give it a little pinch here and it should be good to go. Yeah, look at that. So when I was at the store getting this, I was trying to figure out how I'd get the torque wrench to hook onto here. And they made it way too easy for me. Look at this, there's just a slip joint here, which I don't even have to push in all the way. And then the top, it's got a socket square on it. So I just need a 3/4 to 1/4. And since I don't have to glue it, I can actually return this when I'm done, because this was really expensive. It was like $20, I think, for this clean out adapter. Okay, so we got 3.62 foot-pounds, which is about 43.5 inch-pounds. Okay, so it's turning. What is that the torque, this torque wrench clicking? I've never really used this torque wrench before. Looks like we need to get a little bit tighter. Probably want to go slow because it's a little bit hard to loosen it, get these bearings loosened back up. So. Number one, that torque wrench was garbage. I don't know what happened to it, but it's broken. Number two, I was reading the spec completely wrong. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. The torque's supposed to be 1.45 plus or minus 3.62, which I don't know how you're supposed to have 1.45 minus 3.62 foot-pounds. So I guess that means pretty loose up to, pretty loose. But anyways, this torque wrench, the lowest torque it can do is inside of this range. So that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to dial it up all the way to the bottom and then maybe even back it off a little bit and see if this works. Yeah, so there it's clicking. This is how one of these cheap torque wrenches is supposed to work. The guy that was helping me out basically just said in the shop they just kind of guess, because usually there's not a spec for this. So I'm not super worried as long as it's not super tight. Yeah, a little bit of. All right, well, I think I've gone too far now. Although I'm wondering, this bearing down here is not spinning. It's not, there's not like a good, I mean, the preload on that, it's not really getting set. Oh wait, it's kind of spinning. Okay, so I'm going to loosen it up a little bit. All right, so now I have this set to 4 foot-pounds, and it does move. But then if I go to 3.5, it clicks sometimes. Yeah, and then 3 it clicks each time. So that technically is correct. It is really tight though. Jeez, that doesn't feel right. And then this bottom bearing is just spinning freely, like there's no load on it at all. Okay, I really do think that all 3 of these bearings should be moving together if this is done right. And I think what's happened is when I put these on when they were hot, they were all seated together. But as they cooled off, I think they kind of just pulled away from each other a little bit. So what I'm going to do, this is not good for the bearings, but unfortunately I don't think I have any other choice, is I'll just put this in the press and just gently try to seat all this together. I'll try to do it without getting everything dirty. There we go. They're all kind of locked in there. Didn't have to push too hard. Also got the warranty replacement for my inch-pound torque wrench. So I set it to 20 inch-pounds, which is pretty much on the low end of what this should be at. Let's see if this works. Oh yeah, see, it's already, what are we at? Let's find out here. I know it is a little bit tight right now. Okay, so we're at 100 inch-pounds right now. Still a bit high. All right, I got this set to about 40 inch-pounds right now, and it's right on the edge of where it's clicking. So I think I'm going to call that good. That's within spec, because the spec is up to 60 inch-pounds. It's like pretty much 20 to 60, and I'm kind of in the middle there. It's actually from a stop is when you want to make sure the wrench doesn't break. So it's right at about 40. That was a huge headache. Glad I'm done with it, and now we can install it. I need to clean this thing off again though. I've been messing around with it. It's probably covered in dirt. All right, we gotta lube up this. Probably not. Oh, I got an idea. Easy. Okay. It's going in crooked. Ouch. It's all crooked on the front. Okay, I think it's started now. Oh, now it's going. Okay. Let's hitting this gear now. Of course, it's just off to pop it, but there we go. Right there. There we go. So there's this normal plug. And there's this guy. Oh, it's going right behind the gear and in front of the first bearing. So that stays there. And I think this plug is useful, like when I first go and I want to fill this thing with fluid when it's in the machine, if I put air pressure into the hydraulic tank and open up this, I think that'll fill this whole pump with hydraulic fluid, because you obviously don't want to start it dry at all. So that's probably what I'll use that for. I'm guessing that's the purpose of it. All right, the manual says to put the pistons in next, but I think I want to, stuff's gonna scratch itself. I think I want to put the angle sensor in first. Let's see, I think there's this, that, that. All right, so if I remember, it goes there. Oh, then the washer went there, and snap ring. And then I think this went in from the outside. I had to get a new seal. This seal doesn't come in the rebuild kit, like the O-ring kit I have over here. All right, so this goes in here. This goes in here. We have a washer. I apologize, there's really no way to get a couple of these angles, it's just impossible to film on, so I apologize if you can't see what's going on here, but I'm just putting on a snap ring. Okay. Yeah, no idea why the rebuild kit didn't come with this seal. Seems kind of important. I think this needs to be able to bottom out in there. And this little guy, oh, this little guy goes in there, I think. A little bit of grease on there. I should probably have oiled these up too first, huh? So I think this black stuff is like a hardness coating. That's what I was told, but the center piston doesn't have that. I'm not sure what that's about. All right. It says to use grease here, but let's see if I can get away with fluid. This ball has to go, there's a little channel right on the top there. There we go. So that goes there. The directions don't really say anything about this part. I guess you're on your own. By the way, big thank you to Full Bore Hand Cleaner. They sent me like a gallon of hand cleaner, and it's so much better than the stuff I was using for Harbor Freight. It cleans my hands so much better. All right. So now to get this lined up. So this So man, this is going to be tough. Let's see, maybe I should put this in the barrel first. That would probably make more sense. Okay. Oh my gosh, how am I supposed to do this? Is there a trick to this? Seems like it makes more sense to do it from the side here, but we'll see. If I had a long magnet, I could probably reach in here and lift them up one at a time or something. Can't see through there though. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Of course, the manual has no help on this. Maybe if you hung it upside down. There's just no way. My hands are way too fat for this. These were like $3 each at Harbor Freight. There's got to be a better way to do this. I mean, I guess you could hang it upside down. But still, just getting everything lined up. They probably aren't going to be strong enough, are they? As long as that center one's correct, this might actually work. I don't know if these are actually helping. Let me get them out of here. Oh, I got like some of them in. Okay, it's been like 15 minutes, but I think maybe. Oh wait, no, one's off. Hold on. Oh, did I lose one? Oh shoot. I'm so close. I think I got them all but one in. Come on. Yes? 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 Okay. Now the center one's going to be wrong, but we can maybe rotate that now. Let's see here. There we go. I think that might be it right there. Oh, what a headache that was. So really, you really just got to kind of position it at an angle, and then I was slowly getting each one in position and trying to hold it, and then work each one. It's really hard to do. It took quite a long time to do that, but I think we're good. Oh, that's way too much. Let's clean that up. This is for the angle lever, and I think it just engages on this round part, not this squared off part. Okay. Every time I need to go grab a new tool, I have to clean it off and then I have to go wash my hands again, so it's really slow moving. It's probably not even going to work here. I don't think there's a top or a bottom on this. Does it matter which side this goes in? Guessing not. We're good. It's not full of rust. I painted this thing like 3 or 4 weeks ago. This video is going to be super late because I was on vacation for a couple weeks and just busy with other stuff. All right. Make sure that surface is clean. Press that ring. There we go. So this goes in there. And then I believe you put the screw in the top. There we go. Doesn't come out. So the manual says to both install this on the barrel and in here. I think it makes more sense to install it on here first and then do it. I guess we'll find out. Which way does this go? Like this? There we go. Okay, so that's engaged. And this should be interesting. How in the heck? I can't even see what's going on here. Let's see. Oh, great. I just lost that. This might take a while. Oh. Might make sense to do this sideways, maybe. Watch this rotor just fall out of here. Okay. Let's see if I can get this to... This is too low. Yeah, oh. I'm pushing up on the bottom of the piston right here, and I can see everything moving. I think it's mostly engaged. I need my mallet, but it's under there. Uh-oh. Put a bolt in, I guess. Doesn't help that it's about 95 degrees in here right now. Oh, I think we're good. Now, if you remember, there was 2 bolts that were broken off in here when I took this head cover off. So that's a sign that it's been over torqued. So I'm replacing all the fasteners with these blue ones. And as I torque this, I think I need to be moving this piston, make sure nothing's binding up. Like it. Yep, still moving. All right, I also I took the angle sensor back off and verified that it spun both ways when I did it, so I'm pretty sure it's all seated on the right. This gets torqued to about 80 foot-pounds. Actually, before I torque that on, I'm going to get these end plates on because I'm pretty much done with having this thing standing on end. That's the right size. This goes in. I never took this off, but I don't think there's really a reason to do that. Just make sure. Now, if you remember when I took this off, there was RTV all over this. So this was also most likely over torqued along with all the other fasteners. So that's why I'm replacing all these. I'm just verifying with my other torque wrench real quick. I just got this other cheap Harbor Freight one. I just wanted to see if it's actually close. So we're at 35 right here. It should be 36. That's what I did with the other one. Yeah. And that's 36. Yeah, that was really close. It's 36 and a half. Yeah, so I think that one's actually pretty accurate, this cheap Pittsburgh one. This is the drain plug. Yeah, it's getting heavy now. All right. Oh my gosh. Should probably mark these. Oh, that was the one I did before. Whoops. Marked the wrong one. Trying to get these last couple plugs and sensors in so I don't have to be as paranoid about dirt getting into the case here. So here's the pressure sensor. It's up here somewhere. All right, I got the engine speed sensor here. I guess this is the pump speed sensor, but it's the same thing. All right, I'm going to put the angle sensor back in. One thing I forgot, or one thing I screwed up on, I guess, is you're supposed to put like, it said 3-bond, which is basically RTV, around the outside of the seal, but I did Loctite. I just wasn't thinking. It should be okay though. Loctite does bond to rubber, I believe, and plastic. All right, so on the angle sensor, there is a way to set it. So there's a punched, I don't know if you can, we'll see if we can see this here. There's a little punch right above my fingernail there. Not on that side. So the punch is supposed to be away from the lead, from the wire. And then you're supposed to install it with a punch facing toward the, I guess that's the end sensor for number of revolutions. And then as long as it's in there, you're good. And there is like this slot, I don't know why it's slotted. Maybe there's some fine adjustment you can do to time it right, but now these are the servos that control the angle of the pump. There's two that are the same part number. but remember the manual saying you want to put them back to where you got them from. So I don't know if it's part of some calibration or whatever. Probably doesn't really matter at this point, but gonna have to go right over the ridge of this speedy sleeve. Hopefully it doesn't fold it back. It's pretty tight. Okay, got a little bit of grease on this seal. Looks like it goes this way. The instructions don't say to use like 3-bond or RTV or anything, which I'm really glad about, because any RTV you put on here is going to end up in the pump. So I remember this thing fits really tight. Oh man, can I get it around this? This is, there we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. I'll give this one a shot since this is the only big one left in the kit. Doesn't quite fit, but it might work. Probably should have painted this. Yeah, maybe I should paint it. All right, now for the pilot pump. This is all that came in the rebuild kit. Oop. Ooh, this. I guess this is held in with a ring, isn't it? The picture in the manual of this part is not photocopied very well. So let's see. Let me figure out how do I want this. Like that. Mm-hmm. Should probably put some. Well, that doesn't look right. All right, I guess that's right. Should probably put a little bit on these gears, huh? Wait a second. How are you supposed to lock those little... I didn't put these little keys in between there. I didn't say to do it in the manual. The manual didn't mention the key, but we'll go ahead and put it in anyways. Let's see. There we go. That would be helpful. I'm really not showing it on camera, obviously, but I'm washing my hands like pretty much every step here. So this one goes in next. All right, top bushings. Oops. I guess which way do these face? I guess this goes on here. Okay, so that goes on there like that. So that means we want these to be here, right? No. And then on the front, so I think this goes in first, then the backup ring. On one side of this O-ring, there's a groove there, and there it's not. So obviously, all right. Tucks on the inside. There we go. Oh, popped out there. You can tell it's that backup ring is fully tucked in there. You know, I am an idiot once again. I thought this was the back that the back cover went on, but this is the front, obviously, since the input shaft's there. So originally it was like this, which means I have these on backwards. I mean, I don't think it really matters though, but I might as well just make it right. So hold on one sec. All right, there we go. I'll just kind of. Okay. And now these are, oh crap. That might have just popped out that backup ring. Yep. You have to be really careful about that because that thing wants to pop out of there. All right, this thing's got to sit up off its shaft for now. Otherwise that backup ring will pop back out. Okay. And they gave me two of these for some reason. Are these the same? Okay, this doesn't really fit. Good enough. So, these haven't popped out, right? Since this thing's aluminum, I just decided to strip the paint and leave it bare. This part is clean, by the way. There we go. Is this one going to seat? Oh yeah, we're good. Always get worried about steel bolts and aluminum housings. Making me nervous. All right, phew. It's under here. And that's right. There was a bracket right there, wasn't there? Guess we'll just find out if that leaks. paint is still wet on this, but I just want to get this thing done tonight. I guess if you're smart, you'd paint this after it's together so you can get all spots like that, but whatever. Also, this thing is now officially like pretty much sealed up. It's just this and this that are left open to the elements, right? I guess in this, but it's covered. Oh, they're all covered at least. This is good because it's getting messy in here. All right, so on the front pump mount, I remember taking these like grub screws out of this thing, but they don't actually, I don't think they do anything. They're not all the way through. There's no, I don't know what these do. They didn't have Loctite on them or anything. So I guess I'll just put them back in. I don't think it matters which direction this goes. There's nothing, ooh, I can actually hear it pumping air. That's a good sign. Are these keyed or something? How far was this on before? Does it matter? Seems like a one of those times where it's a good idea to use Loctite. Rotate this. I think this bracket's for holding the main pressure hose when it comes out into the valve block. So I am going to look for some, well, I'll get some new rubber, but for now I'll just leave that there so I don't lose track of where that goes. All right, guys, well, I guess I'm done finally. This took a long time to film. I think if you look, the last time I posted an excavator video, I think it was 2 months ago, maybe. And just a ton of time spent fussing over this thing, making sure everything is clean, you know, getting the parts to all fit together. It's really not that complicated. It's just, you just got to spend a lot of time with it, especially if you don't know what you're doing like me. Anyway, I feel pretty good about it. I think it's going to work. I mean, we'll know once we hook it up, but I have a pretty good feeling it's going to work okay. So for the next excavator video, the plan, well, actually, I'll take you out and show you what the plan is. So I was thinking this was going to be a smaller job, but now that I look at it, it's big. All this needs to be cleaned up before I put anything back in. So the cab area is just a disaster. You look down in here, it's not good. So I think actually all this framing needs to come out so I can get to that stuff. But anyway, all this needs to come out and be cleaned up. So here on the other side, it's probably even worse, just all the dirt in here. Keep in mind, I did pressure wash this thing at least 3 or 4 times, but all this dirt just hides under the engine and pump and fuel tanks and all that kind of stuff. So really it's just one more giant mess to clean up, and then I can start reinstalling stuff. I have a brand new wiring harness, and I'll be making all new hoses. So once this is all cleaned up, it should be a little bit easier to deal with, hopefully. So unfortunately, it might be a while before you see another excavator video. I just got this lathe I want to get set up. I'll probably do a video on it. It is like a really old, interesting lathe. I think it is functional. I had to kind of take it apart to get it off the trailer, but anyway, look out for that. Besides that, I just have a lot of other stuff going on for the summer. I've been promising my kids for like 2 years I was going to build them a tree house, so I got to get started on that. So the excavator will be on hold for a few weeks at least. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon for another one. Take care.